Alright, playing the King Master Chess computer on level 72. I'm white. I'll say starting off, this is what I think is probably my best game ever. It's a very short game, only 30 moves, but I managed to pull out a quick win against the computer, which is pretty hard to do. So we'll start out here. It's a Sicilian opening. Pretty typical so far. Looks like black's going for the dragon variation. He's hoping to fianchetto his bishop here. Go ahead and bring my knight out. Moves his pawn to e5, so now I pretty much have to move my knight. Put it back over there on b3, which is typical of the Sicilian. He brings his knight out. Now I like this move here. It's just a simple move, a3. It's going to prevent his bishop from coming out here to b4 and pinning my knight, or developing his knight here to b4. So that basically prevents his knight and his bishop from occupying that square. Okay, so now I bring my bishop out here and try to pin his knight. That's good for two reasons. It helps me continue to develop my pieces. Also creates a pin, which is never a good thing. He's trying to break that pin, so he moves his h pawn. However, that's going to disrupt his pawn formation here if he tries to castle kingside. So I go ahead and just move my bishop to h4, maintain that pin on the knight, and that's going to force him to develop his pawns even more and potentially get them out of position if he tries to pursue threatening my bishop to break up that pin. And he does, but I just have to move my bishop around. Bring him back to safety there on g3. He develops his bishop here onto e6, and he's threatening my knight. Now, I don't really want that knight to be taken because I'll have to capture back with my c-pawn, which is going to leave my pawn out in the open, and that's going to be a problem later if I do that. So I want to try to maintain my pawn structure here as best I can. So I go ahead and move my knight out of the way. Now, that's probably better. I was better off doing that. However, I'm moving the same pieces twice. That knight's actually been moved a number of times now. And black's continued to develop his pieces on tempo. So you can see the trade-off there with that move. Now he's going to try to occupy the center, offering up an exchange here of my e-pawn. I've gotten to the point against the computer where I pretty much never accept any exchange he offers because I know that it's in his benefit. So I go ahead and instead of taking that exchange, I just fortify that e-pawn. So now you can see I'm protecting it 3 times, once with a pawn, twice with each knight. So he can't really take it right now. Continues his development. He now has to bring his bishop up there. He can't put it on g2 or g7, which he had originally wanted, so he brings it over here to d6. And you can see right now, looks pretty good for black. You know, all of our pieces are on each side of our board. However, he's got a stronger center control and definitely is leading in development. Now I go ahead and bring my bishop out. I create another pin on his c knight here. He responds with d4, which now threatens my knight and also gives him a bigger chunk of the center. So that's not good for me. So now I have to once again move my knight out of the way. Now my knights are moving the backwards. I want them to be moving towards black. Now they're moving back towards the first rank here, so that's definitely not good. Also, that knight was protecting my bishop. Now he brings his queen out, and since that bishop is essentially hanging, threatens the bishop now. So I pretty much have to go ahead and take his knight, otherwise I'll have to retreat yet again. So I just take the knight. He can either take it with his queen or his pawn. He takes it with his pawn because he is threatening my b pawn. He wants to maintain that threat, so he just captures with his b pawn. So now I have to either fortify that b pawn or move it to a place where it is protected by another piece, which I do. So I move it up to b4, and black goes ahead and castles there.